The Quantum Research Station Epsilon hung like a delicate spider web against the inky blackness of deep space. Situated on the outer rim of human-explored territory, it was humanity's most advanced listening post, a place where science pushed the boundaries of known understanding. Dr. Elena Rodriguez stood at the primary observation deck, her dark eyes scanning the holographic displays that danced with streams of electromagnetic data. Nothing about her suggested the extraordinary mind that had designed half the station's groundbreaking systems. At 42, she carried the calm demeanor of someone who had seen the universe reveal its most intimate secrets. Captain Marcus Chin, head of station security, approached with his characteristic measured steps. "Incoming transmission," he said, his voice cutting through the soft hum of advanced computing systems. "It's not one of ours." Elena's eyebrow lifted slightly, a gesture that spoke volumes in the carefully controlled environment of the research station. Alien communications were rare, especially this far from established contact zones. The holographic display flickered, resolving into a crystalline representation of a being that defied easy description. Translucent yet solid, with what appeared to be multiple sensory clusters where a human would have a face, the alien representative began to communicate. "Greetings, humans of Quantum Research Station Epsilon," the translation matrix rendered the communication in a neutral tone. "We are the Syndicate Diplomatic Corps, representing the Galactic Concordance." Marcus exchanged a quick glance with Elena. The Galactic Concordance was a loosely affiliated network of alien civilizations, bureaucratic, conservative, and notoriously difficult to impress. "We have detected unusual energy signatures emanating from your research station," the alien continued. "Our preliminary scans suggest technological capabilities that do not align with our established understanding of human technological development." Elena couldn't help but smile. Humans had a habit of surprising even the most advanced civilizations. The station's core research focused on quantum entanglement communication, a technology that could potentially revolutionize interstellar communication by creating instantaneous information transfer across unlimited distances. "We request a comprehensive examination of your research," the alien representative stated, its multiple sensory clusters pulsing with what might have been anticipation or concern. What the alien diplomats didn't realize was that they were about to witness something far more remarkable than just technological innovation. Humanity's true power wasn't in its machines, but in its capacity for radical, unpredictable problem-solving. Marcus leaned closer to Elena. "They have no idea what they're walking into," he muttered. Elena's smile grew wider. "That," she whispered, "is precisely the point." The first seeds of what would become known as the Horizon Protocol were about to be planted, a moment that would reshape galactic understanding of humanity's potential. Little did the Galactic Concordance know, they were not just witnessing a research station. They were about to encounter the most unpredictable force in the known universe, human curiosity coupled with unbound creativity. Preparation for the unexpected. Station protocols activated silently. Defense systems remained passive but alert. Quantum firewalls, a human innovation that could adapt faster than any known computational defense, began their intricate dance of protection and observation. The alien delegation would soon learn that humanity's greatest strength wasn't in its weapons or its technology. It was in its ability to transform, to adapt, to see possibilities where others saw only limitations. The alien delegation consisted of 3 primary representatives from different subspecies of the Galactic Concordance. Zaranix, a crystalline being with a neural network that processed information through light refraction, stood at the forefront. Beside her, Krell, a methane-breathing entity encased in a specialized environmental suit, continuously monitored environmental data. The third, known simply as Architect, 7, was a biomechanical construct designed for diplomatic negotiations. Their initial scan of the human research station had revealed anomalies that defied their comprehensive galactic databases. What should have been a straightforward technological assessment was quickly becoming something far more complex. "Your quantum communication prototype," Zaranix began, its translucent form shifting colors with each word, "challenges our fundamental understanding of information transfer." Dr. Elena Rodriguez leaned against a holographic display, her posture relaxed yet alert. Captain Marcus Chin stood nearby, his presence a silent reminder of the station's security protocols. "Challenges are why we exist," Elena responded, her fingers dancing across a transparent interface that seemed to respond to her slightest touch. Krell's environmental suit bubbled slightly, a sign of confusion in its species. "Your technology suggests capabilities that should require centuries of development. Yet you've achieved this with limited resources." Elena smiled. Humans had always been masters of improvisation. The station's core technology had been developed using a combination of recycled components, creative engineering, and what could only be described as scientific intuition. The improvisation demonstration. To illustrate their point, Elena initiated a demonstration that would challenge everything the alien delegation understood about technological development. "Watch closely," she said, pulling up a holographic representation of their quantum communication prototype. The device before them looked nothing like the sleek, perfect technologies the Galactic Concordance was accustomed to. It was a complex amalgamation of seemingly mismatched components, a communications array cobbled together from parts that originally served entirely different purposes. A communications relay originally designed for deep-sea exploration. Quantum processors salvaged from decommissioned space probes. Cooling systems repurposed from industrial refrigeration units. Each component had been modified, reimagined, and integrated in ways that defied traditional engineering logic. Zarnix's sensory clusters pulsed with increasing intensity. "This is not possible," it stated, more as a reflection of its internal confusion than a challenge. Elena's fingers moved across the interface, and the prototype came to life. A stream of data began to flow, not through traditional communication channels, but via quantum entanglement that seemed to defy the very laws of physics the aliens understood. "Impossible is just a failure of imagination," Marcus muttered, a phrase that seemed to encapsulate humanity's approach to technological innovation. The psychological challenge. What the aliens failed to comprehend was the human capacity for lateral thinking. Where other species saw limitations, humans saw opportunities. Where traditional engineering suggested a linear path, humans created intricate, unexpected solutions. The quantum communication prototype was more than just a technological marvel. It was a testament to human creativity, the ability to look at existing systems, deconstruct them, and rebuild them into something entirely new. Krell's environmental suit began to emit a series of complex vibrations, the methane breather's equivalent of a stunned silence. "Your species does not follow any known technological progression, Architect," Seven finally spoke, its biomechanical voice carrying a hint of what could only be described as fascination. "You create solutions that should be statistically improbable." Elena's smile was both a confirmation and a challenge. "We don't just solve problems," she said. "We reimagine what's possible." The growing tension. The alien delegation began to realize that their mission was no longer a simple technological assessment. They were witnessing something far more profound, a species that refused to be constrained by existing knowledge. The Quantum Research Station Epsilon was more than a research facility. It was a crucible of human potential, a place where the boundaries of science were not just pushed, but completely reinvented. As the demonstration continued, the aliens exchanged glances that spoke volumes. They were beginning to understand that humanity represented something entirely unprecedented in their galactic understanding. The challenge of adaptation had only just begun. The alarm system erupted in a cascade of crimson light and staccato warnings. What had been a routine diplomatic assessment transformed in an instant into a potential disaster. A massive solar flare from a nearby unstable star was racing towards the research station, carrying an electromagnetic pulse powerful enough to obliterate most technological systems. The alien delegation watched in horror, expecting complete system failure. Instead, Dr. Elena Rodriguez moved with a calm that seemed to defy the imminent threat. "Marcus," she called out, her voice steady, "activate the adaptive shielding protocol." Captain Marcus Chin didn't hesitate. His fingers flew across a series of unconventional interfaces, a mix of cutting-edge technology and what could only be described as ingenious jury-rigging. The alien representative Zarnix observed in stunned silence. Their own advanced civilizations had sophisticated defense mechanisms, but nothing prepared them for what humans were about to demonstrate. The Improvisation Symphony. The station's defensive systems were anything but conventional. Where most technological systems would simply shut down or attempt to create a static barrier, the human team was preparing something entirely different. Elena had designed a dynamic adaptive shield that didn't just block radiation, it absorbed, transformed, and redirected energy. Components from old communication arrays were being integrated with quantum processors. Cooling systems originally meant for deep space probes were being reconfigured to manage extreme electromagnetic fluctuations. "We're not just defending," Elena explained to the bewildered alien delegation. "We're converting the threat into an opportunity." Krell, the methane-breathing alien, struggled to comprehend. Its sophisticated scanning equipment showed impossible calculations happening in real time. The human station was essentially turning a potentially catastrophic solar event into a source of additional energy. The moment of truth. As the solar flare approached, most technological systems would have gone into defensive lockdown. Instead, the Quantum Research Station Epsilon began to pulse with an intricate dance of energy management. Quantum entanglement communicators began to draw power from the incoming electromagnetic radiation. Heat dissipation systems transformed excess energy into computational resources. What should have been a destructive force became a fuel source. Architect 7, the biomechanical diplomatic construct, realized something profound was happening. Humans weren't just surviving, they were thriving in a situation that would have destroyed any other known civilization. "Impossible," Zarnix whispered, its crystalline form flickering with confused light patterns. Marcus looked over with a slight grin. "Nothing's impossible. Just not yet understood." The aftermath. When the solar flare passed, the station not only remained intact, but had actually increased its overall energy capacity by 37%. Systems that should have been fried were instead running more efficiently than before. The alien delegation stood in stunned silence. Elena approached them, her demeanor casual despite the incredible feat they had just witnessed. "Any questions?" she asked, as if they had just completed a routine maintenance check. Krell's environmental suit vibrated with what could only be described as a mixture of respect and genuine confusion. The methane-breathing entity's communication system struggled to process what had just occurred. Architect 7 was the first to speak. "Your species does not understand the word limitation," it stated, more as an observation than a criticism. "We prefer to think of limitations as unfinished problems," Elena responded. The deeper revelation. What the aliens were witnessing was more than technological prowess. It was a fundamental approach to existence, a way of thinking that saw challenges not as obstacles, but as opportunities for creation and growth. The Quantum Research Station Epsilon was more than a technological marvel. It was a testament to human potential, a living demonstration that creativity, adaptability, and relentless curiosity could transform seemingly insurmountable challenges into moments of breakthrough. The diplomatic mission had become something far more significant. This was no longer just a technological assessment. This was a first glimpse into the true nature of human potential. And they had only just begun to understand. The diplomatic mission had transformed from a routine technological assessment into something far more profound. In the quiet observation lounge of the Quantum Research Station Epsilon, the alien delegation began to realize that human potential ran far deeper than any technological marvel. Dr. Elena Rodriguez understood this better than anyone. She had been preparing for this moment her entire career, not just as a scientist, but as a student of human resilience. "Communication is more than just exchanging information," she explained to Zarnix, the crystalline alien representative. "It's about understanding context, emotion, and potential." Architect 7, the biomechanical diplomatic construct, processed her words with increasing complexity. The human capacity for nuanced communication defied its original programming. The resilience experiment. To demonstrate the true depth of human psychological strength, Elena proposed an unprecedented experiment. The aliens would witness a scenario designed to test the limits of human adaptation and mental endurance. The station's simulation chamber came to life, a space that could recreate virtually any environmental or psychological challenge. Today, it would simulate an extreme survival scenario, complete isolation, limited resources, and multiple system failures. "We'll show you how humans respond when everything falls apart," Markuschan said, his voice carrying a mixture of pride and challenge. The simulation began. A symphony of survival. The scenario was brutal. Communication systems failed. Life support began to degrade. Environmental controls fluctuated wildly. Most species would have descended into panic or given up hope. The human team did something entirely unexpected. Instead of breaking down, they began to collaborate with an intensity that bordered on telepathic. Every team member became a living solution, adapting to challenges faster than any computer could calculate. Sarah Nguyen, the station's environmental engineer, began repurposing cooling systems to create emergency oxygen generation. Michael Rodriguez, the communications specialist and Elena's brother, started developing communication methods using light patterns and mechanical vibrations when digital systems failed. Krell, the methane-breathing alien, watched in stunned disbelief. Its advanced scanning equipment couldn't comprehend the level of coordinated problem-solving happening before its sensory clusters. "They are not just surviving," Krell communicated to its fellow delegates. "They are evolving in real time." The breaking point. 12 hours into the simulation, the scenario reached its most critical stage. Oxygen levels dropped to critical. Temperature controls failed. Most species would have succumbed to despair. The human team laughed. Not out of hysteria, but out of a genuine sense of challenge. Each obstacle became a puzzle to be solved, each system failure an opportunity for innovation. Elena noticed the aliens' confusion. "Humans don't just solve problems," she explained. "We find joy in the process of overcoming them." Psychological breakthrough. What the aliens witnessed was more than just survival. It was a fundamental approach to existence that defied their understanding of intelligence and adaptation. Humans didn't see challenges as threats. They saw them as opportunities for growth, for creativity, for pushing beyond known limitations. Architect 7's biomechanical systems began to recalibrate its entire understanding of intelligent life. The human team wasn't just surviving, they were transforming the very concept of survival. The deeper revelation. As the simulation concluded, the human team emerged not just intact, but energized. They had turned a scenario designed to break them into a moment of collective triumph. Zaranix's crystalline form pulsed with a complexity of emotion that suggested a fundamental shift in understanding. The aliens were no longer viewing humans as a species to be assessed, but as a potential they could barely comprehend. "You don't just survive," Zaranix communicated. "You reimagine survival itself." Elena's smile was both a confirmation and a challenge. "Welcome," she said, "to humanity." The psychological frontier had been crossed. And the journey was just beginning. The quantum resonance anomaly had been a mystery for decades. A region of space where physical laws seemed to break down, where entire star systems disappeared and reappeared in patterns that defied all known scientific understanding. No civilization had ever successfully investigated the anomaly. Countless probes, expeditions, and research missions had been lost, swallowed by the unpredictable spatial distortions that seemed to actively resist exploration. Until now, the joint human-alien expedition represented something unprecedented, a collaborative effort that brought together the most advanced technologies and the most creative minds from multiple civilizations. Dr. Elena Rodriguez stood at the helm of the modified research vessel, the Horizon Pathfinder. Beside her, representatives from 3 different alien species worked in a harmony that would have been impossible weeks ago. Zaranix, the crystalline diplomat, now served as a primary systems analyst. Krell, the methane-breathing environmental specialist, had become an integral part of the mission's adaptive response team. Architect 7, once a rigid diplomatic construct, now functioned as a dynamic problem-solving interface. The impossible challenge. The quantum resonance anomaly defied everything they understood about space, time, and physical existence. Traditional sensors failed. Advanced scanning technologies dissolved into meaningless data streams. Every previous attempt to approach the region had resulted in complete mission failure. But humans didn't understand the word impossible. Elena's team had developed a revolutionary approach. Instead of trying to analyze the anomaly with existing technologies, they would use a completely different methodology, one that embraced uncertainty rather than trying to control it. "We're not going to study the anomaly," Elena explained to the alien delegation. "We're going to communicate with it." The aliens exchanged glances of confusion and intrigue. The adaptive interface. The Horizon Pathfinder was unlike any research vessel ever constructed. Its hull was a living system of adaptive materials that could reconfigure themselves in real time. Quantum entanglement communicators were integrated with biological response systems that could interpret and respond to environmental changes at speeds that seemed to defy logic. Marcus Chin, coordinating from the Secondary Command Center, monitored a series of interfaces that looked more like abstract art than scientific equipment. Each screen displayed dynamic patterns of information that shifted and changed with impossible complexity. "Entering anomaly zone," the ship's AI announced. But this was no ordinary AI. It was a collaborative intelligence, part machine, part human intuition, part alien logic. The moment of transformation. As they approached the quantum resonance anomaly, something extraordinary began to happen. Instead of the expected destruction or dimensional displacement, the ship began to resonate. Not just with the anomaly, but through it. The boundaries between the vessel, its crew, and the surrounding space began to blur. Krell's environmental sensors went wild. Zaranix's crystalline form began to pulse with an intensity that suggested communication was happening on levels beyond traditional understanding. "We're not just observing," Elena whispered, her eyes wide with a mixture of scientific excitement and profound wonder. "We're participating." The collaborative breakthrough. The human approach was fundamentally different from any previous scientific exploration. Where other civilizations sought to control and understand through rigid methodologies, humans embraced the unknown with a combination of technological innovation and pure, unbridled curiosity. The Horizon Pathfinder didn't just enter the anomaly. It began to interact with it, to dance with it, to communicate with it in a language that was part mathematics, part intuition, part sheer human creativity. Spatial distortions that had swallowed entire research missions now seemed to part, to reveal glimpses of realities that defied existing scientific understanding. Architect 7's biomechanical systems struggled to process what was happening. "This is not possible," it communicated, a statement that was becoming increasingly ironic. Elena's response was simple and profound. "Possibility is just a failure of imagination." The profound revelation. What they discovered wasn't just information about the anomaly. They were uncovering a fundamental truth about the nature of existence itself. The quantum resonance anomaly wasn't a region of space to be studied. It was a living system of information, of potential, of unresolved possibilities. And humans, with their unique capacity for creativity, for seeing beyond established boundaries, were uniquely positioned to understand it. As the Horizon Pathfinder continued its impossible journey, the alien delegation realized something profound. They weren't just witnessing a scientific mission. They were watching the expansion of understanding itself. Humanity's true potential was not in its technology, its weapons, or its scientific achievements. It was in its capacity to reimagine what was possible. The Galactic Concordance Diplomatic Assembly had never experienced a moment quite like this. Representatives from thousands of civilizations sat in stunned silence, their collective consciousness struggling to process the implications of the Horizon Pathfinder's mission. Dr. Elena Rodriguez stood at the center of an immense holographic chamber, her presence both unassuming and transformative. Behind her, holographic representations of the mission's key moments flickered, moments that had rewritten everything known about scientific exploration, interspecies communication, and the nature of intelligence itself. Zaranix, once a rigid diplomatic representative, now stood as a transformed advocate for human potential. The crystalline being's form shifted with complexity, reflecting an entirely new understanding of existence. Humanity is not just another species, Zaranix communicated to the assembly. Humanity is a fundamental force of adaptation and possibility. The profound understanding. The mission to the quantum resonance anomaly had revealed more than just scientific data. It had uncovered a fundamental truth about intelligence, creativity, and the nature of problem-solving. Where other civilizations saw boundaries, humans saw opportunities. Where established scientific methodologies suggested limitations, humans found pathways of unprecedented exploration. The anomaly itself had become something entirely unexpected. No longer a mysterious region of space to be studied, it had transformed into a collaborative interface, a living system of potential that responded to imagination, creativity, and unbounded curiosity. The human difference. Marcus Chin, standing beside Elena, understood the deeper significance. Humans had never been about conquering or controlling. They were about understanding, about connecting, about seeing potential where others saw only obstacles. The Horizon Pathfinder's journey had demonstrated something profound. It wasn't advanced technology that made humans unique. It was their approach to existence itself. Krell, the methane-breathing alien who had once viewed humans with suspicious confusion, now spoke with a depth of respect that transcended linguistic barriers. Your species does not just solve problems, Krell communicated. You reimagine the very concept of problem-solving. The galactic paradigm shift. The Galactic Concordance had operated for millennia under a strict understanding of technological and evolutionary progression. Species were categorized, their potential measured by rigid metrics of technological advancement, resource management, and diplomatic capabilities. Humans shattered every single one of those metrics. Architect 7, the biomechanical diplomatic construct, presented a comprehensive analysis that left the entire assembly speechless. Humans were not just another species to be categorized. They were a fundamental variable in the equation of universal potential. We are not special, Elena said, her voice calm and clear. We simply refuse to accept the word impossible. The true nature of potential. What the mission revealed was more than a scientific breakthrough. It was a philosophical revolution. Intelligence was not about having the most advanced technology. It was about the capacity to imagine, to adapt, to see beyond existing understanding. Humans had demonstrated an ability to interact with the universe not as observers, but as active participants in its ongoing creation. The quantum resonance anomaly had become a testament to human potential, a living demonstration that the universe itself responded to creativity, to curiosity, to the relentless human drive to understand and connect. The final revelation. As the diplomatic assembly processed the implications, something remarkable happened. Representatives from various civilizations began to look at humanity not with fear or suspicion, but with genuine wonder. Zarnix's final communication captured the moment perfectly. Humanity is not just a species. Humanity is a perspective, a way of engaging with existence that transforms the very nature of possibility. Elena Rodriguez smiled. Not a smile of triumph, but of pure, unbridled curiosity. The journey was just beginning. Epilogue, beyond the horizon. Somewhere in the vast expanse of space, the Horizon Pathfinder continued its impossible journey. Not as a vessel of exploration, but as a living testament to human potential. A reminder that the greatest frontier was not space, not technology, not scientific understanding. The greatest frontier was imagination itself.